I'll use NLE Chopper for instance, and this isn't no shade to him because I think he's like a dope artist, right? But he gets to Butch Queen cosplay. He gets to step into this arena where he gets to express his masculine and feminine in a very extreme way. But when he's done with it, he get to jump out of it. Right.
Like that's a character for him.
It's a character for him.
Yeah.
Whereas though I live it.
That's you.
Right. Like I had to struggle with this idea of masculine and feminine was
Welcome back to another episode of Keeping It a Bean. Keeping It a Bean is a podcast that brings together culture and commentary all over a cup of coffee. But y'all know I'm recording late at night, so there's some tea with us tonight. So thank you very much. If you are new here, my name is Marquise Davon. Keese, this American Negro. Don't ever call me Mark in your life. I'm not Mark. That's Mark. But you can call me Keese, okay? If you're returning here, oh, that's funny. I haven't had a Mark on, so this is very nice to like have a Mark. Then I tell people not to call me Mark, and then that's Mark and it's Keese. Mark Keese.
And please call me Mark.
Okay, please call him Mark. But if you are returning, you already know what the vibes are. Hello to niggas and niggas only. That is how we are running forever and always. Before we fully get started into this podcast, I want to give everybody a huge shout out for coming through last weekend to get to the private tasting of the Keeping It a Bean and Leroy's launch. It was the first official live podcast that I was able to do. It'll be the first of many series that I'll be doing in 2025. And it was such an awesome way to have like a third space for Black people just to be able to congregate and feel comfortable with each other, but also like so many like-minded folks and individuals who can like help each other out were also existing in that space. But also I had such a wonderful freaking team of the day. Daniel out here making sure the audio is crispy as ever, the best producer, audio production dude out here. Then we had Kavan in the back, also the ultimate production assistants. Yeah, okay, that is back. Shout out to Chloe and Chris and Amanda holding it down with the merch table, Chris holding it down with photography, Cody holding it down with photography, and Chloe holding it down. Wow, Cody, Chris, Chloe. I got it. And Chloe holding it down for the background on social media. That really meant a lot. And shout out to Alex of Indie Hall for being able to host it here. Dog, it was such an awesome experience to just sit down and just explain the story of my Pop Leroy, but not only just explain that story, because I started crying, y'all. And y'all know I'm a crybaby. And I was down bad. I couldn't even finish everything I wanted to say. But we made it through and everybody had a good time. And dog, I'm still on such a high from this past weekend. So thank you for everybody who showed up. Thank you for those who are showing up in the future. February 1st will be the official launch party for Leroy. So everybody will be able to get to experience it. There will be food. There will be a DJ. There will be step and repeats and people just gathering together for all the greatness that is to come. So thank you all. I'm super excited for this new venture. I'm trying to be on my Issa Rae this year. Podcast, mugs, coffee, merch, we out here. Stop playing with him. I got it all, okay? Because now you got a mug, bang, to put your coffee in. Boom. And sitting with us right now is some BVP coffee. This is actually the sample blend, the sample Guatemalan blend that will be the base for what Leroy's is going to represent as well. So I'm super excited for folks to be able to really engage with that. Because honestly, when they were tasting, I said, you got Ethiopian, you got Guatemalan. And even the people who never drank coffee before was like, all right, this ain't that bad. And I said, I got something. I got a hit. Stop playing. And shout out to Gary Johnson III, CEO and founder of BVB Coffee as well. So thank you and for your partnership and everything else. So make sure to follow Leroy's Blend on Instagram so you can keep up with all the updates that are coming along that way. And just to make sure we pay the rest of the bills here as well, you can support me monetarily by going to patreon.com/Marquise Davon. That's MarquiseDavon. There you can get drops to episodes at an earlier space. But then also, if you are coming to any of the events in the future, then you can also get some discount codes there and merch discount codes as well. So you're going to get all of the news before everybody else because you're already investing in this Black man. And I am so appreciative of you as well. But also some fun content is coming in 2025 because I am pushing myself to be a little bit more lifestyle-ish. Dog, I gotta start vlogging. It's gonna be a push because I'm such just listen to me share ideas. But now you can see a little bit of like what I do. So not too much, but you're going to have to pay for that. Other than that, though, I understand that it's still a little economic anxiety. So if you cannot support me monetarily, you can do so non-monetarily. So that means if you are watching these two lovely faces here right now, that means you're watching on YouTube on a nice little Sunday morning, hopefully, when it premieres at 10 a.m. So make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, hit that notification bell. If I am your Monday morning drive, that means you are listening to me in audio. So please make sure that you are also giving me a rate and review on the podcast. Make sure that when you leave those reviews, it is something of substance, because that will help me show up in the algorithm a lot more. And if other people are just like, if you like this podcast, you'll probably like this podcast too. So that's the way to support podcasters here as well. So I said all the things. I know that long intro will be long, but we out here now. Anyways, I have a wonderful freaking guest here today, and I am so excited. Photographer, model, the Butch Queen, Hashira themselves.
A model crazy.
Because you are. Stop playing. Okay. An artist. Like and one of the kindest souls I have gotten to meet, and I got to meet you 2 years ago now. Yeah. 2 years ago now. And I'm excited to talk about that story a little bit more. But I have been such a fan of your work, a fan of your art, a fan of your craft, a fan of your mind, and also just a fun commentary, because you are just a good-natured person overall. So, hey, Mark.
What's up?
Aki. Yes, indeed. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. How you feeling?
I am tired. I just got back from Jamaica Monday.
Wow. Hold on. Let's start with Jamaica. How was Jamaica?
We got kicked out the pool.
Oh.
Yeah. It was a mess.
Oh.
Can you tell us about this?
Exclusive.
Long story short, anytime a camera's out, people gonna act up.
Mm-hmm.
And it was 2 of my friends' birthdays. And Sag just act up.
Oh, you have Sag friends.
I got Sag friends. And then we ran into more Sag birthdays. So it went from a calm day at the pool
to a lot of fire.
To the pool was boiling. Yes.
Yeah.
It gave that. So then next thing you know, if I got to the pool at 3, I blacked at 6. Wow. I don't remember anything until about 1 a.m. And I literally needed to. So my friend was recording most of it.
Yeah.
Actually, I was recording most of it too.
I saw the cameras were out on the boats. I said that for the time.
I definitely had a camera and I definitely was using it. I just don't remember. But I needed the footage from the camera to piece.
Yeah.
The day together. And it wasn't until. If this happened on a Monday, let's just say it happened on a Monday, Wednesday. So let's just say it's 2 days later, we go back to the pool and we just go to get shots. And they're saying oh, we can't serve you. And we're like, well, what happened? And they're just like, yeah, there was an incident at the pool and they said that you guys we gave you too much. And I was like, that wasn't us.
It's not who you thought it was.
That's not who it was. But to be honest, it really wasn't us. It was the girls we were with.
Oh.
Girls and gays.
The girls, the gays, the theys.
Turn.
All doing the things in Jamaica.
So and then mind you, it was supposed to be an adult resort, but it was kids on the resort.
How?
Don't know. But what I will tell you is the grown-ups down there didn't care.
Oh.
So you got girls pulling
everything out.
Everything out. And then if you was like, oh, you should put it away. Well, these mine.
It was not hedonism. Got it. If you know, you know.
So it just really went a little overboard. So and mind you, this was our first day, our first full day there.
Yeah.
The second day I didn't drink at all though. It was no thank you. It was no thank you. And then the third day was a lot more chill.
Yeah.
So, but I had a good time. Jamaica's fun. I also didn't leave the resort though.
Oh.
Okay. I did leave the resort, but we did a boat cruise situation. Yeah. So it was leave with intention.
Right.
you know, Jamaica got a reputation. So
you gotta pick and choose your
I just
battles.
wasn't
Yeah.
I wasn't too sure, and I really went on some like, but I'm not. So I'm also not one to dial back myself though. Like,
Right.
I'm like unapologetically like queer. So like
unapologetically queer, but I'm gonna be safe.
But I'm be safe.
Yeah.
So you know what? I'm in y'all space. So y'all just don't gotta see me.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's valid. That's actually it's actually one of those things like I always think around with my friends. Because it's not something that they always consider when I'm in mixed company, aka the gays and the straights when they're all together. But when they want to go out, I'm just like, I like to kiss people when I drink. So if I can't engage in my wanderings, I don't know if it's necessary for me. So I definitely have to remind them, like, is it gay friendly? Because I'm not about to have to hit somebody. Because me outside, it might be a little different. I'm a fun time. But don't piss me off.
No, I'm a good time.
Okay. A time will be had. Anyways. Anyways, you're back from Jamaica.
I'm back from Jamaica.
And so, no, that's real, though. And I was like, you said you got back yesterday?
No, not yesterday. I'm working for a week this week. Look, you know, I got to think about it. Yeah. No, I got back. I went last Sunday. Stayed until last Thursday.
Okay.
Jumped right back into things Friday.
Ooh.
Took the weekend.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, this is really like starting my week.
Okay, starting your week.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So it's gonna be an easy conversation. Ain't too much, too difficult today. I ain't gonna ask you the hard hitting questions. You feel me? But we are gonna start off with my favorite part, a fun little icebreaker. We got to know a little bit about you and Jamaica. But this is the Keeping It a Bean segment, and Keeping It a Bean is where you keep it 100. You are going to give your hot take for anything. It don't got to be the spiciest one. It can be a little lukewarm if you wanted to. It can be a little hot if you wanted to. Whatever you want to do. But it can be personal, politics, pop culture, whatever you want to talk about. So what's on your spirit that you would like to just get off?
When I say 1,000 things within my head, but I'll use this only because it's more recent.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we
I don't know what it's about. Yeah.
What's you about to say?
Right.
Look, it is probably not even that serious, right? I feel like people should be able to listen or appreciate whatever genre of art they want to in peace.
Mm-hmm.
I say that because recently, is this a safe space? This is not.
It's a safe space.
Because recently, I've been indulging in Chick States Volume 5.
You said who?
So you judging me?
I'm not judging you. I'm asking I'm asking clarifying questions. It's just curious.
Because,
I just want to.
So who made it?
Yeah, who made it?
Oh, wow.
Don't air this part. Because they're going to be like, misogyny is running rampant.
I told you. It's the internalized homophobia. He hates black women.
I really don't. I love black women to death.
Okay.
I also love Chick States Volume 5. And
we can all talk about our problematic faves.
We all can talk about our problematic faves. But I say that more so because as I move through spaces, mm-hmm. right? And I like to think that I'm like super unjudgmental, right? Like I'm just living.
Mm-hmm.
I'm picking up that everything ain't for everybody,
mm-hmm.
and everything ain't for everybody to the degree that. Okay, so I'm queer, right?
Yeah.
And I have a lot of queer friends that eat Chick-fil-A.
Who was I just having this conversation with? Oh, I was just having a conversation with my boy, and he was like, I don't want to indulge in homophobic chicken today. I prevented myself from eating it. I'm proud of myself. I said, you go, Glen Coco. Because I just had it a week ago.
But I say all this to say we all indulge in something that's supported by something that technically somebody
mm-hmm.
don't love, right? Like, Trump about to be our president. You get what I mean?
Who's? Not mine.
Yours. He about to be your president. So like, I'm just like, we all indulge in something. And if, I don't know, if you shopping at Lowe's supports Trump.
Mm-hmm.
You support Lowe's.
I was going to say.
What's the difference?
I love books.
I mean, not Lowe's, Home Depot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Home Depot.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Home Depot's crazy.
This is really wild. But no, I feel that though, because it's also like, I don't extend that to Robert Kelly. I don't extend that to him. But I don't know what that face was.
My hot take is done.
Okay. Yeah. No. I don't listen to him. Robert Kelly? R. Kelly? That's not what I said. Wait, what did I say?
No.
Oh yeah, I don't extend like separating the art from the artist from him. But I was thinking about it because we had a conversation about a week ago. But I was like, dog, like I think from like more of a content and like even literature, like I'm just like, no, I love reading. So like I read so many racists but most of us have and don't realize like here's what we're reading and these are what people are thinking about. But even in literature, it makes you wonder like, ooh, should I still be able to take what other people's perspectives are in order to understand the ways in which that they move as well? Some people just fundamentally have great art. Like, I don't know if Ray Bradbury was a racist, but I'm going to tell you Fahrenheit 451 is one of my favorite books every single time. And so it's like one of those like, and even, Harry Potter, that's who it was, J.K. Rowling. But it makes you wonder like the emotional attachment that we have to like Harry Potter. We have to negotiate that every single time because best believe I am watching a Harry Potter roundup for Christmas. It's a great Christmas movie. But I watch Harry Potter all the time. But I'm like, as a child, that's what I grew up on before I understood her political views.
So just to push it just a little bit further though, but we not canceling Harry Potter.
We're not canceling. We're canceling her.
But they're not.
If we're still indulging in Harry Potter.
But we're not. So if we're not going to do that, don't come over here asking me not to do this. I don't have an opinion on the matter, right? Like,
right.
And then don't give me this art and then tell me I can't listen to it after I didn't already immerse myself in it.
Right.
Like it's not new to me. It's easy to not pick something up later, right? Like
yes.
I cannot support anything going forward. But all these things are already ingrained in us. If you have already sat through 700 pages of spells from Harry Potter, seen all 5 movies or however many there,
but
right. So
okay.
But if you've already done all the things, like no one's expecting you to just because some new age people who probably never seen Harry Potter can now be like, we're not doing that.
Right.
I've already done it. It's already ingrained. It's already in this playlist. It's not coming off. like I'm already.
And do you think like there's a responsibility, like when you're met with new information, now you have more of an active choice to not I don't not say separate, but when you're engaging in that, I'm like, I didn't know this thing was wrong when I was younger.
Right.
And now I know that this thing is wrong. And so I think that what I leaned into a little bit more is like, do your values change as you're presented with new information and new experiences? But do your personal values always translate into the way that we consume things? Because I feel like we consume art and content and people at massive degrees.
Right.
And so something let me stop it there. Do you think there's a switch? Like I know personally, for example, I'll just say my problematic fave, 50 Cent, Curtis. I love Curtis now.
But he's like a troll though.
But he's a troll. But I know he's also like caused harm, right? And so it's just like, where is our threshold in what we are willing to like have as negotiable versus our non-negotiables?
Well, the thing is that threshold is different for
everybody. Exactly.
So I can't also like, and I say that to say because people really be afraid. Like I was in our group chat saying like, yo, I'm listening to.
Yeah.
And when I said it, I was like, this is a safe space, right? Like
we listen and we don't judge.
So they're like, yeah. So I'm like, I sent exactly what I was listening to. And of course, my friends love it. So they're like, yeah, Chick 6 Mike 5, blah, blah, blah. But of course, I got one friend that's like, well, and I'm like,
but I think that's interesting though, because did it necessarily cause a rift in your friendship?
No,
right? Mm-hmm. And so I think there's also like that piece I'm also realizing of just like, there are some things, like some of my friends, I love my finance brothers. Y'all are some of my best friends. But we fundamentally disagree on so many things. And so it's funny because me and my other boy, Elijah, we always joke, like, every finance bro needs an education bro. Because it will just kind of, like, balance out. The evil you're doing can balance out with the good. You make a lot of money. I might be a little brokey, so buy me a couple extra drinks. And then we go from there.
I say capitalism.
Exactly. And I'm just like, burn it all down. Like, what are we talking about?
Fair.
And so it's like funny to kind of see, I think what we don't always get to talk about in friendships are like how you experience differences with each other and still are able to find that ground to love on each other as well. Correct. I think so many people now, and I feel like social media exacerbates it a little bit, but so many people are just like, no, we don't agree, we're not friends. And I'm just like, but that's not how you learn from people. Now if there's a fundamental, like, no, you are actively transphobic, and no, babes, you can stay your ass over there. Okay, correct. We don't have to be in community with one another.
And I do feel like that's probably, so if you're asking where my threshold is, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, like, I guess it just depends on where my heart is.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, for instance, and this is before I even stop eating chicken, because I don't eat. I'm pescatarian. So, yeah.
You think you're better than me? You think you're better than me? All right, ketosis, relax. This nigga started keto diet and I'm different.
I'm not saying I'm better.
But I'm not saying I'm not either.
But even before then, like, once all that started happening, I'm just like, I'm not giving Chick-fil-A my money.
Yeah.
Like, you get what I mean? Like, you can't, because I also feel like I have to live in my struggle.
Yeah.
And I can't support something that's really, like, going against my best, like, my interests.
Right.
Like, so streaming don't really get nothing really.
Right.
It's like pennies.
But it's pennies. It's literally like a 10th of a cent.
Correct. So, like, I'm just going to enjoy it. And again, it's really to each his own. I think it's really situational. I also, and let me just be super clear, I'm not, if you do listen to R. Kelly, I'm also not judging. I have my own take on that as well. Am I personally listening to R. Kelly? No. But if it come on, am I turning it off? No.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I mean?
I actually stopped dancing altogether. I'd be like, now, DJ, I know.
Now,
but that's really, it's not like the younger parties. It really be the old heads that be DJing.
Yes.
That be still playing him.
And they'll turn it on.
And they turn it on, and they do not be caring. And I sit there, I'm just like, oh, I cannot bring myself to do it.
Fun fact, if you go down south,
niggas don't care.
Don't give a fuck.
Do not.
At all.
At all.
They will play R. Kelly.
They said, you thought, what they said? You thought we weren't going to stop. You thought we were going to stop? We don't care. Like, what are you talking about? Give me the music. Step in the name of love. Thank you.
We love him.
Yeah.
But also, I will say, like, unfortunately, I guess because the idea of it and all that, the earlier work I do shy away from because the correlation.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, feeling on your booty and all that kind of stuff, like, that's still, like.
Do you think too many people care now about or have opinions about things that it really doesn't make a difference? Like, they feel like they had to have an opinion or have to be on a certain side or think a certain thing.
You know what's funny? I think a lot of people want to do things and just won't do it because of what people are going to think, right? Like, somebody probably want to listen to R. Kelly, but just because the group think says no, it's like, I can't do it.
Because the social contract changes. But I actually think, like, more than anything, to, like, add on to your point, and even for your question, Elijah and I were debating about this, because we were just like, why are people boycotting? When did the whole thing around Chick-fil-A being homophobic become a thing?
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I was like, nah, I know they definitely did something. And I really had to sit there. I was just like, no, they were given to some fucking camp or some conservative, like, junket or whatever. And so he was just like, but that's the point. Like, we often begin to change as, like, the general values and the general social contract changes a little bit. Mm-hmm. But in reality, a lot of us it becomes the Hatfield and the McCoys. We don't remember why it's a bad thing a lot of the time. We just know our values should not aligned to it a lot of the time. So I think a lot of times people follow a social contract, but then also my argument is that not enough people know what they actually value and what they don't value.
One of the things about the R. Kelly thing that I tend to challenge people on sometimes. Now, the fact that he, up until the documentary, was still wilding is crazy, right?
What they say, the nigga needs a therapist. He is not Nelson Mandela. We get it. The nigga can sing.
But I will say, men have been taking for centuries, right?
We're getting into it. Go ahead.
They've been taking for centuries. So I just want to put this ideology just out there. You got to remember there was a point in time where men of any age were married to women like 15, but I'm 35, but she'll make a great bride, right?
Child
brides. Yeah. And by 25, she's no more good. Right? Like this was happening for centuries, and then as we start to live longer, as things start to happen, as our mental capacities start to grow, we start to say, you know what, that's wrong.
Right.
But I can remember a time personally when I'm in high school and the girls I'm going to high school with got niggas that's picking them up that's 27 years old, 28 years old, coming past, throwing them things, paying for their proms. Not for nothing. You know what? So yeah. But these kind of things were happening. So there were a lot of Robert Kellys in the 90s, right? And it wasn't like abnormal.
People didn't bat an eye at it a lot of time because it's also just like this is learned behavior, and a lot of people never checked men in terms of like when did this. So then I think that becomes a question of like when did that social contract change? Did people already think like this thing was wrong? But also there are just some unspoken things that we see every single day that go unchecked. And completely so when it goes unchecked, you then create this permissive behavior to say like, oh, this thing is bad, which is why I think a lot of people have an aversion to this new social contract. Because I'm just like, yes, fundamentally, I agree. You're old as fuck. Get away from that little girl, especially me being a teacher. Absolutely not.
Correct.
But there is a space where we have, societally, we have allowed this behavior to persist. And we wonder why some of these trends begin to happen over and over again because Correct. People are not checking the behavior when it first starts. But that also means, what does that signal out to younger boys? You then are allowed to engage in this behavior.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then not only that, but let's also put out there that this man was already on trial, and we said, it's okay.
And they said, we don't care.
And we said we don't care.
Because that black man worked so hard. And I think the thing that we get sometimes is that we put somebody up on a pedestal so high. And not even that. We see a very hyper visible black man. And everybody, I say it all the time. When we see somebody, we're like, but not many of us make it to that point.
Correct.
And so what we're going to do is coddle as much as possible. Mm-hmm. But in that coddling, bad behavior persists.
Correct.
And because of that now, we're just like, but let's look away from all these bad things because we need somebody to represent all of us.
Correct.
And I think it's such a bad thing. And I really put that up with the older generation a lot of the time because I'm just like, y'all struggle so hard with being able to hold multiple truths at one time. Mm-hmm. Yes, he attained this level of success and he's doing some dirty shit.
And we now can hold, because again, we can hold them accountable. Mm-hmm. It's a whole tape.
Yeah.
And we turned a blind eye to a tape.
Yeah.
So in my head, should you be able to be held accountable at any point in time? Sure, right? But the level of crucifixion is crazy to me because where was it?
But I think that's why so many people are also like so defensive about it because I was like, if they're gonna get this person, then you already know, like for you.
Listen.
And so I'm like, there's a level of empathy that is also happening with this bad behavior that went unchecked because no, I did what he was doing. But now that he's telling this is no, people are defending him because now there's an emotional reaction to it. Mm-hmm. Some people, I say a percentage of people are like, no, they're trying to take a black man down and we need to make sure he's good. But the other half is like, dang, if he did that and I get caught and he's rich, I'm screwed.
Listen.
And so they try to like push it off a lot of time, or they have an emotional reaction because they're just like, but y'all told me this was okay.
And we're seeing it a lot more frequently now. We're seeing it a lot more frequently now.
So
let me
ask
you a question pertaining to hot take. One of the best things when I don't talk to someone that's black about Obama is that he was just kind of like the same as every other president. Now, to me, when I see Obama, I think to myself, that was a great representation that black people and white people are all the same, as in he can do the same things that a white person can do, and it doesn't matter about race. Do you feel like that same thing is happening with like someone like R. Kelly, and he can still kind of be, represented as someone that's like to look up to, the same as like Trump, as someone can be looked up to?
I mean, that kind of answers itself. We literally are changing the rules for a man, because not for nothing, Obama can't have any felonies.
But
he wouldn't even been considered.
But not necessarily his felonies, more of like what he did in office. So something that always, whenever I talk to someone that isn't of the race. Sorry, I didn't.
No, I was about to say, imagine if Obama was president during COVID and told you all to drink bleach.
I agree. I think
you get what I mean, and I just mean like, I do feel as though, what did I say when I walked in here when you said I always keep a haircut?
Okay, you're not, those white people ain't gonna see me slipping.
Outside of my art, I also work at a non-disclosed 5-star hotel, and I'm around a certain demographic of people all day. And when I go to work, I feel like I can never be off.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like I get to watch my peers
be mediocre.
And I literally can't be off, because the minute I'm off, there's an issue.
Now, to go back to, so do you agree that is because of your race?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you think that if more people of all races kind of messed up in that way, you would be able to be more comfortable kind of not being that?
No, I don't know if we get the privilege of being able to experience that all equitably. Like, yeah, if everybody had a chance to be mediocre and it didn't represent all of us, that's one thing. But right now, it still is this idea of the one represents the many. And so... And
do you think that's significantly a minority thing, a black thing, or...
It's a black thing. Okay. Because there's an idea, or specifically there's a black American thing, because there is this idea that black Americans are lazy and that we don't have ambitions. We're the coolest people you're ever going to fucking meet, but they legitimately think that we are lazy. When I studied abroad and they were surprised to see me smiling, I said, what are you talking about? But they were like, yo, all we see for black Americans is stuff in the news and The Wire. So like when that's their...
is crazy.
Huh?
The Wire?
Bitch. I was in the Czech Republic. I said...
The Wire.
The Wire. Me studying abroad.
They watch your reruns.
That's
crazy.
That's the crazy part. But like, if that's their only experience, it's the danger of the single narrative, right? Like, if you only see black people in one way, I shattered their whole expectation of what a black person could be in America. They said, you're a black man who is happy. Nigga, I smacked the shit out of you. and
unhappy at the same time.
Okay, and happy doing it. Don't threaten me with a good time. But it was like interesting because I was 19 when I went abroad. And I was just like, dog, like, this is a whole nother world. My first time out of the country. And it was just like, this is what y'all's expectations are of black Americans. And so if that's how the globe is looking at us, at home, we're still not getting that same level of privilege, right? And so even for me, I know that, like, I'm just like, I'm as excellent as possible at my job, because at that point, I can do whatever the fuck I want. You're going to fire me for being mediocre? You can't do that. I'm good at my job. You're going to fire me for being good at my job? Cool. But I'm also say what I'm going to say. And so, like, I also give myself, and again, I'm also in academia, so my world is a little bit more different. But even in that, I'm just like, no, if you are considering yourself anti-racist, if you're considering yourself somebody who wants to advance for black children, black and brown kids, you're going to be prepared to be checked. So when you're in a space of service, I'm not in service of ego, I'm in service of children. And that's what that is at the end of the day. Granted, I have that privilege because my numbers speak for themselves. My quality of work speaks for itself. And so I had to be as excellent as possible, to be as audacious as possible.
This is one last question I want to ask you. Do you think that racial solidarity will come through examples like the R. Kelly thing or the examples of like Trump thing? Do you think that's the way that it could come through?
Racial solidarity?
Yes.
Like us all coming together as one?
Yes, by realizing that no matter what the race is, you know, men, it's not, oh, white guys do this. Oh, it's not like Asian guys do this. It's not like, you know, black guys do this. It's all men that do that. You know what I mean? So instead of seeing race, they start seeing men. Instead of seeing like women, I mean, whatever race, they're seeing women. Like the shooting of the CEO thing, you know, instead of, you know, people seeing like, you know, just another person getting shot, they're like, oh, this guy got shot. Why are they doing so much work for this one guy? You know what I mean? And they're like, the whole thing is happening with like the right-wing media and how they're defending this one guy. It's not like it's a racial thing. I was just talking to Marquise about this, that the only person that could have changed something, and he was right when I thought about it, was a white guy. Couldn't have been anybody of any other race.
And black people have been pushing it. Like, I think you're asking the question more so. I don't believe racial solidarity is going to exist today. I think when Fred Hampton was alive, like, he was able to get the Young Kings together. He was able to get the Black Panthers together. He was able to articulate it's not a race issue. It's actually a class issue. But I think so many people now have more opportunity to take for their own and aspire to being better than somebody else. Versus I don't believe there's a critical mass of people who are conscious enough to know that we're all in the struggle together. I think a lot of people are going to be like, well, at least I'm not a nigga, though. At least I'm not that poor black. I'm a poor white, but I'm not poor black. Like, that's different, right? And so I don't think that solidarity is going to come from this white man as much. I think there's going to be a conversation, but I think it's more of an emotional reaction. I don't think it's going to be an actual, like, interrogated, let's actually talk around, like, why people responded with jokes and lack of empathy for this multi-billionaire person who got shot in cold blood. Like, you feel bad for the family because they lost their family member, but in reality, he was committing murder every single day by denying people health care. So, like, I don't condone violence, but did I care about this one? No. Street justice.
And I mean, I really, as long as race is a topic, I don't know. I don't see it being solidarity in that area for, not in my generation, like not in my lifetime. Like, I honestly don't see it. Like, I feel like there's still like classism and there's elitism and there's all these isms that's gonna, for whatever, and we do it to each other. You get what I mean? Like, we can't even be on the same accord. And the funny thing is, when people try to even do that with us, like when we're talking amongst each other, and they be like, well, other races, because we'll say that so fast, other races support each other. No, they don't.
White people do not like poor white people.
Don't.
And don't. Trailer trash? Don't think so. Country? Don't think so.
So, but if you live a little, if you get to go outside your bubble a little, if you get to experience the world a little, you really get to see how, if anything, as people, we're trash. Right? Like, when we say like we are basically like deteriorating like the earth. Like, we're going to be the reason that the tsunami come and all the things get washed away. We're going to be the reason that things happen because we as a people can't get on one accord. And unfortunately, like, as a whole, we need like therapy, right? There's like a lot of unpacking that needs to be done. There's a lot of things, like, even down to people to this day still saying, right, like, how like slavery is basically something that just happened.
Right.
Like, without understanding like how even though, let's say it happened 1,000 years ago,
right,
like the effects of it can still be felt to this day. Like it's just it's too many layers, and it was just this video of this guy talking about how his grandma 100, granddad 100, like they still lived through all that. Like you still have relatives who went through that.
That's Jim Crow right there.
Like they're not even one generation removed.
They're not.
Yeah.
And then you got your mom, and then you. What we got? If we weren't even, and then we lacked the financial literacy to even understand that we owned value in North Philly, and now all the houses in North Philly turned into dollar houses, and then the dollar houses went to developers. You get what I mean? Like we didn't even understand. We took $30,000 that they threw at us and said, "Oh, we got some money," and then we moved to the Northeast, and now Northeast looked like North Philly.
Yep.
And North Philly looked like it belonged down here. You get what I mean? If you were smart enough, you kept your home. Right. You get what I mean? You figured it out. They may have raised the taxes, they may have done all the things, but you figured out how to keep your equity.
Yeah.
But we ain't know nothing. We didn't know about equity.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? So it's so many lessons that we unfortunately did not get to have. And I just went to go see the exhibit that's at the art museum, right?
Oh, I'm going to see that this week. I'm so excited.
The Time is what is it called? The Time is Now Always. Mm-hmm. It's a really dope exhibit with a bunch. It's like a collective of Black artists, but there's this one in particular painting that depicts Tulsa. Yeah. Right? And I literally was standing there and staring at it for like 20 minutes because, again, art is like a very revolutionary medium. Yes. And the fact that I literally was like in tears because to think at points in time we really were trying to better ourselves in this way, only for people to say, absolutely not.
Nah, fuck all that.
Absolutely not. Like, what do y'all think y'all over here doing?
And that's a repeated behavior on top
of that. And mind you, we're not far removed from Tulsa, right? Like that was not that long ago.
No.
So I'm just like, the solidarity can come when we all can get some therapy and say, you know what? Yeah, all this shit was really fucked up.
Right.
How do we collectively make it right? And then you do have to think, they made it right for the Jews really fast. To me,
they got the they legitimately got the reparations.
They got their things.
We did not get Jewish people literally got reparations. We did not get any reparations.
And let me be clear, the PPP situation is not reparations.
That's not.
That's a come up. You locked up.
We love a good scam. I won that scam. And did. There's actually on a side note, there's actually a really good sorry. But there's a real good study that happened on the rise of scammers and like why scammers exist a lot of the time. And so like it does like a really cool deep dive on like race and stuff. But if you think around like one of the original scammers, Robin Hood, a scammer.
It was.
And when you really think about it, it's just like, what are the conditions that are created in order to have people who have to scam? And so it's not like people want to do this thing, but the conditions that were created force them to have to do it. And so it reminds you of just like, no, choices, privilege is essentially like your choices that you have. What did Kerry Washington say in Little Fires Everywhere? You have choices. You have good choices. I did not have choices. And it's just like, yeah, what were the options that were available to you? And so like, I think when you lean into that a little bit more, I think people begin to understand privilege a little differently because they're just like, well, everybody has a good choice, whether you want to or not. And I'm like, no, what kind of choices did you have?
Because we all had choices, right? You could have lived I lived in a household of, it was 4 boys, right? I have 3 brothers.
Oh, so do I. And a sister.
And though our life experiences are clearly different because we are moving through the world, like different personalities, different things, different attributes, so on and so forth. I mean, we lived in the same neighborhood. We got the same parents.
Yep.
Financially, we coming from the same like struggle. Like we come and but we all chose to do things differently. So get booked and I become president. Like they'll say, well, their upbringing. Right. But also, when we walked out the door every day, we ain't tied at the hip.
Right.
Like our experiences start to differ.
Right.
You get what I mean? If I'm a little bit more meek and I choose not to talk to the boys on the corner, I don't fuck with him.
I don't fuck with him.
Where's all my brother? What's up?
Right.
And then,
yeah. Dog.
Really nice hot take.
Yeah. Because I was like, that took the episode. I said we gotta actually talk about some of this stuff. But before we wrap up a lot of the conversation here, I love that we were kind of able to talk around like one, the different experiences we have when we walk out the door, the idea of privilege, but also understanding and articulating our history in different ways, because that can indicate where we're going. But something I've always appreciated about you, and this is now taking us 2 years ago, you had an exhibition, I believe, at 12th and Vine.
mm-hmm.
It was the second floor. I remember going up, and it was just walking in and watching your art. And it was so dope because I was like, you took almost this surrealist approach to your art, but showcasing Black queer men in nature. You had angel wings, experiencing the body in a ways that was not hypersexualized, but it was in a way that was just like, no, I see you for who you are. And I thought it was like one of the dopest exhibitions I ever got to walk into, but also the fact that you've curated such a space where when people enter, I'm just like, oh yeah, there's Mark. There it goes. And it was so cool to me. And I think I told you so many times of just like, I left that space so inspired because you showcased Black men in such a unique way that I have not been able to see. And you took like this fantastical approach to how you do it. And so I've always been curious around like, how did you start leaning into that piece of your art? Because there's one thing to just be like, because you're already just a dope ass photographer, like off rip, but to really lean into like that creative aspect to really like heighten the experience of how Black people are. Where did that come from?
Photography came out of nowhere for real. Like I was styling for a really long. Like I really thought I wanted to be a stylist for a really long time.
One of the best set dressers on the side note. That's all I'm going to throw that in there too. He can put a set together.
Like I really thought that was my calling until like I really started taking it seriously, really being on like, because I wanted to be a fashion stylist. Mm-hmm. So I'm on these sets and I'm doing these things, but I would have the photographer always call me over and say, hey, like, does this look good? Mm-hmm. Da-da-da. And I just became more inquisitive about the camera.
Yeah.
Short story, I came into a camera. I came into it, doesn't matter. But I came into one, luckily. And for a year, I didn't use it. Mm-hmm. And then one day, I just started Googling just the specs of the camera.
Yeah.
Then from there, I just started YouTubing like cameras for beginners, how to take photos, and I would just go outside and use it. Mm-hmm. I started one blog when doing like a little like online blog was like popular.
Tumblr days.
Mm-hmm. I would take pictures of my friends and do like these little excerpts about them, like what keeps them mentally healthy, like what are their likes, dislikes, so on and so forth. But this was my way of like constantly shooting. From there, I started just shooting whatever until around the marches, the Freddie Grays, the Tiana, like all those marches started happening. And when Philly did one in solidarity, I went down to shoot just the rally. I got some really dope photos from the rally, and from there I had like my first small little exhibit. Yeah. It got a little buzz, but from there, a lot of people just started saying, hey, I know you do this thing. So I was getting more because it's repetition, right? Like the more I get to shoot all kinds of things, because then it was that. Like I didn't really have like a style. Right. So what I did is I started honing in. Yeah. Right? I just was like, well, what do I like? And I used to edit crazy. Like I would just throw all kinds of shit in my edit, and then
give it MySpace days.
But
sepia this, sepia that, sepia this.
But I would think it was childish. Yeah. I would just be like, this is so like foolish. Like nobody is going to care about this, right? And then I started looking at like the David LaChapelles of the world. Yeah. And how like they really took like this super creative, expressive, like approach to photography, and I'm like, this is more my lane. But then I would look at again, I think another white man that got out of here, Terry Richardson.
Get that white man out of here.
They got him out of here. But how Terry Richardson used to use like the overexposed flash and things like all these things I like was intrigued by.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do I wanted all of it to be in my photography.
Yeah.
So now I'm just trying to hone in on like what my style is. And I feel like I found a lot of success when I did the Do-Rag project.
Yeah.
So I did a project called The New Crown, and it was just this idea of taking the do-rag and changing the narrative around it. And instead of being this like trashy ghetto piece of cloth that we was just wrapping around our head, like this was really like our like proclaimed crown.
Yeah, and you
did
that one with George, right?
I did it with so a lot of people. Yeah. But it actually was my first thing that I felt like the culture gravitated to.
Yeah. Right?
Like, because I feel like that's where most people started to know me from, this New Crown project. From there, the wings actually just came because my boyfriend does music. Shout out to Bam. And he was putting out a song called Mr. Nintendo. And I wanted to get into video too. I'm like, I want all my things. I just want to do it all at this point. And I was like, I have this abstract approach to the song where you're like this angel. You're like this fallen angel and XYZ. And he was just like, okay, let's just do it because my mind. And he was just like, okay, whatever. So I went on Etsy, bought these $400 wings. Oh, and I was just like, we're gonna make it work.
These wings gonna stretch.
But they did.
Yeah.
And they did. And I still have them.
Yeah.
For $400, I'm going to keep them. So I ended up doing like this whole angel, like euphoric kind of situation, super whimsical. And I feel like everybody just kind of like gravitated towards that. Yeah. So now I have like this angelic thing that I'm doing, and I have this do-rag thing that I'm doing. And then at the time, I was obsessed with like set design. So I'm like, what's the most effective, cheapest way to change my space? Fabric.
Yep.
So I just started draping. And I mean, I would drape colors, fabric. I started draping textiles, like whatever could bend. I was just creating like all kinds of like little worlds. And that's just kind of where all this started to come from. Now what started to happen unintentionally was the fact that I found myself just shooting queer men, right? And one of the things, so I took a little step back from photography this year because I felt like I needed a break. Like I needed to kind of live life a little bit. Yeah. Because I have this idea to intentionally now, because I feel like all that work just collectively came together. But I have this idea to intentionally put out a project that's based around the idea of a butch queen.
I was gonna say, let's get it, because I love watching how you bring together the masculine and the feminine, and really just like, no, all of this can exist in such a beauty, but it's in a way that a lot of people don't allow Black men to exist. Correct. In those energies. Good.
They do. You just have to be a certain kind of Black man.
That part.
So, and I really want, and that's like I said, I wanted to live. I wanted to be in my skin. I wanted to absorb certain things, and I wanted to experience certain things while also living life and watching other people kind of, it's what I like to call a butch queen cosplay.
Yeah.
You get
explain more.
You get to step in to a genre. It's the same thing as like blackfishing to me.
Yeah.
So I'll use NLE Chopper for instance, and this isn't no shade to him because I think he's like a dope artist, right? But he gets to butch queen cosplay. Yeah. He gets to step into this arena where he gets to express his masculine and feminine in a very extreme way. But when he's done with it, he get to jump out of it.
Right.
Right.
Like that's a character for him.
It's a character for him.
Yeah.
Whereas though I live it.
That's you.
Right. Like I had to struggle with this idea of masculine and feminine was I also had to be ridiculed for it. Right. Because now that it's cool to dress fun and wear your jeans a little tighter and wear the gaudy this and the this, that, and the third, you get to, we call it expression now.
Yeah.
But expression would have got me hurt.
Yep. That expression was not safe for you.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
90s, 2000s. God bless any butch queen or queer man before me, right? Because I think that the millennial gays, it's not given like the most revolutionary, but we damn sure set the tone for the girls to be able to run around here now in their school and go prom with each other and do all the things.
Yeah.
Right? But
we took the hits so y'all can run.
Literally.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like we were also the generation that was like, enough is enough. I'm not doing this shit no more.
It's
right?
a transition generation.
Right. So I get to wear fitted if I want to, but I get to wear a crop top if I want to too. And I can fight you.
Okay. But you can't beat my ass. Everyone,
you can't beat me. Like you can't.
Yeah.
So I want to give that. You know what I mean? This is really about to be like my love letter to like my niggas.
Yeah. For real,
right?
That's
the
valid.
ones who really had to because Kyle, shout out to my friend.
Okay, shout out to KP.
Shout out to KP.
I was just on the phone
because
yesterday with him.
Kyle has this notion that as I move forward in this venture and express like this whole Bush Queen situation, that I should be like the go-to, right? Yeah. Like if you don't know what it is, I should be basically the teacher.
Like I said, the Butch Queen Hashira.
The Bush Queen Hashira.
Period.
But I'm an artist and I speak through my art, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like when Warhol was doing what he was doing, we went, we watched, we admire, and he didn't have to give a bunch of seminars as to why.
Right.
Same for any other artist, right? Like I can be the face of it, I could be the this of it, and my art can express it. But the same thing we do with white people when it comes to black shit, I also feel like do your research.
Right.
If you respect it, then you do the extra work that it takes to go out here and learn exactly what this culture, like what this thing is, what this culture is, and why why some people might think it's fucked up that you get to play in it.
Yeah.
Why? Again, there's always gonna be a certain appreciation because to me, I always know there's one of us in the back saying, "Do this thing."
Yep.
It was one of us saying, "Drake, put the ballies in your hair."
Right.
You get what I mean?
Okay.
Like it's one of us back there saying, "Do this thing."
Okay.
They are gonna go wild when you do it, right?
Yeah.
They ain't gonna believe it. You doing it for a stunt. I really know girls who wear ballies.
That's why I told you.
And when
Drake
I say
is
girls, it's GW. It's the girls. It's the girls. The girls are the boys.
Yes.
But yeah, and I wanna, after this, I'll venture out and do all the things because again, I know that that queer is so like multifaceted. Like there's so many spectrums, there's so many this, there's so many that, and there's so many avenues to touch. I just want to touch the avenue that I feel like I identify with the most. When I was growing up, I wish I had the imagery that I create now.
Yeah.
I wish I had the space that I could take up space the way I do now.
Yeah.
I feel like I take up space so unapologetically now.
It's beautiful.
Right? Because I felt like for so long I couldn't.
Yep.
Right? Like it was fear-based. Now it's I wish a bitch would tell me I can't.
Right.
It's the fact that for a while you live with a little bit of regret as to like, it's almost like feeling like you wasted some of your life because you just weren't living it. So now that I can live it, it's just kind of like loud. So that's why I said in Jamaica, I know I'm going to carry on.
Yep.
So I'm going to carry on in this resort.
Yeah. Okay. I'm in the resort.
In the resort.
Yeah.
So
no, I love how you brought that back to like the fullness of the conversation and like the negotiations that people have, whether willingly or unwillingly, and also just what it means to like truly embody like who you are. Because I think oftentimes we see people enter in spaces and that's what the resentment becomes. It's just like, no, bitch, I was harmed for this.
Correct.
You have the protection of celebrity, you have the protection of money, you have the protection of this is just a stunt, this is a character he's putting on, and then you go home and you like, I don't fuck with them, right?
I don't gotta worry about that.
You don't gotta worry about that because your safety is not gonna ever be a negotiation that you have to think about.
Correct.
Right? And so I appreciate you being able to bring that in. I appreciate what you're able to do with your art and really expand a lot of the narrative, but also give honor to the person that you are. Because like I was like, "Ooh, that's very Toni Morrison of you. Create the book that you want to read."
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
That line that he said about you're gonna look back and regret the times that you should have, not could have, but should have been yourself. That really hit. That was a really great line.
Yeah. Nah, you're appreciated, yo. And just know, like, we see you.
I have a lot of things in the works. I'm really excited. I played a lot this year.
Mm-hmm.
I said I'm gonna live this year.
Yeah.
Because I know that as I'm entering out of 2024, like I feel really, really good. But I feel like I set myself up for this space to really go.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Like legitimately excited. Like
2025 is about to be up. Like it's going to be like a lot of legwork, but I feel like my artistic voice is very loud right now.
It's loud.
And the funny thing is I've been creating. I just haven't released it and on purpose, right? Like I have a lot of things in the tuck, but this is just not the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, timing matters. And I love that you get to keep your art for yourself.
Because it's mine.
You're ready. Yeah.
Because it's mine.
Because when you give it away, like that's everybody else gets to consume it how they choose to.
But that's a lesson so again, I like to call 2017 like a little renaissance.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like that's when it was like a lot of photographers and a lot of like models and a lot of like, I just feel like a lot of music. Like, first of all, 2017 is like one of my favorite eras of music.
Oh, I thought 2016 is the real era of music in my mind. I love that. So I see that table came out 20. Yeah.
But it was a lot happening around that time. But I also felt like there was like this pressure to pump out content. Right. So if you were a creative around that time, I just felt like we all were just kind of like here,
yeah.
And it felt like it's been like that for like the last 5 years, right?
Yeah.
So like it's really like enough.
Yeah.
Enough. I really just was like, I don't want my voice to become repetitive.
Yeah.
And now, and again, at this big age, everything for me is very much so intention based.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily just putting it out just because I want to put out nice.
To say.
I feel like now I have something to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, on that note, dog, I'm so excited. I love when people are just like, no, I know. Now I got something to say. Like, let's go. Yeah. Marc, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for your hot take. Thank you for telling us and inviting us into your world of art and all of that. I hope that so many people get to understand like this episode. What I really appreciated was like the complexities of how we see art. So we went from music, we went to the artist itself, to how that talks about culture, how that talks around where we are as a people, and then also how you talk around your own self. Like I love like how this episode evolved, and you effortlessly. Cause
I'm chatty.
Yeah, and I love it. And please just know, and this is only touching the surface, so please make sure that you are going to be coming back, okay? Because we got something to say. Okay?
More things.
More things to be said. But before you get out of here, please let the people know where they can find you if you want to be found.
Absolutely. I made it very easy for myself. I really have one handle, and that's Marc, M-A-R-C, my, M-Y, style, S-T-Y-L-E. Type that into any platform, and that's me.
Period. Thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're amazing. On that note, that's another episode of Keeping It a Bean. Please make sure to hit that like, subscribe, that rate and review button wherever you are watching or listening to this here podcast. I appreciate y'all. I hope, and I'm so excited for y'all to listen to this conversation, that y'all are able to take away so many of the nuances and honestly, like not always having to have an answer to every little thing either. Like I think we got to exist in this cool little gray space of just like humans are a gray space. It's not always black and white. And I think that's such a beautiful thing to like embody, especially as we get older. You settle into things a lot more and you understand reality a lot more. So thank you once again. Other than that, peace, y'all.